Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 AI cast. We have got ourselves two of my favorite bots here. We've got BenBotBC in the bottom left of the map, Royal Blood AI edition, of course, as these are two non-human combatants. And in the top right, my favorite Protoss bot, and honestly, there isn't enough Protoss bots that I cast. It's SharkBot. Yeah, I don't think there's enough Probot or enough AI for the Protoss. I mean, we kind of had Alpha Star, which was primarily Protoss for the majority of its life. However, regardless, oh my gosh, what even is this? You gotta love these bot games. The probe mechanic, definitely one that has wiggle room for harassment due to the shield regen. And so we do see SharkBot moving across the map with quite a few probes. It's already lost two, however, as it's trying to mess with its Terran counterpart. Fortunately for BenBot, it's got a very well-programmed response to this. However, we may see an SCV go down. We do, so there is success there. SharkBot saying, good luck, much love. This isn't an all-in. Shucks, almost forgot. Probe emoji as it's cheesing with its 14,000 APM probe rush. 20,000, just about eclipsing that 18,000 somewhere. And then of course, it throws up a cannon, cancels the cannon, starts up another cannon, and then just goes about its business, throwing a cannon up in its main base by its pylon. I mean, the fact that it chose to build the pylon there is not typical as far as what you want in a regular 1v1, but who am I to say what bots should do or not do? This game has heated up so darn quick, ladies and gentlemen. Seeing as how we've had 5 dead workers in this game, let's go for 5 likes on this video. Subscribe if you haven't, hit that bell icon. Leave a comment down below that says more bots if you want to see more worker rushes like this. Things like that are why SharkBot is one of my favorite AIs to cast. And so, we'll see where this game's going to go from here. However, if you guys do want to support the channel, help me purchase coffee that fuels these casts, as I got an empty mug beside me right now. Consider becoming a YouTube member, as that's a great way to support the channel. I've sort of set a goal for myself that I'm going to do 1 video per member per month. So right now we got 6 members on the channel, so I'm going to do at least 6 of these bot matches a month. And yeah, let's see where this is going to go from here. BenBot showing us great lethality, defended the cheese and moved across the map with its Marines, and all of a sudden SharkBot is potentially going to lose this Nexus. Like, the level of play between these bots is so high these days. As, like, SharkBot went for the cheese, it got defended, then we see just the counterattack from BenBot, and the fact that bots are programmed to do that is just insane. And BenBot's going to get a Nexus because of it. Keep SharkBot on one base. It's supposed to be this nice photon cannon transition. By the way, this is a big derp from SharkBot, the way it's placing its buildings. Like, this Stalker is going to be 100% walled in. This Nexus should be canceled, but it's not going to be, unfortunately. And so BenBot is just in a is in a great spot. SharkBot's in a world of trouble. Of course, BenBot took some harassment, lost a couple SCVs, but that rush didn't do as much for SharkBot as I think it wanted it to. We also see a low ground wall-in for BenBot. I'd be very interested to see if this is something the map makers or the bot author set specifically for the map, or something else. I just realized we need those tunes on. Only took me 4 minutes for this one. Now, unfortunately, we do see that Stalker being trapped in, so SharkBot needs a little bit more work in that regard. Trying to throw up a defensive pylon. I mean, the Stalker will kind of help zone out the Marines, shooting one on the low ground there. Another one's about to pop out, but we could potentially see so many Stalkers be caught in this pocket. There's a lot of room for Stalkers in this pocket. There is Warp Gate on the way, so hopefully Stalkers won't be warped inside the pocket. Or maybe at some point they'll be recalled. I don't know, but the Marines for BenBot are going home, thankfully. These probes chasing them all the way home. Not all the way home, just out of the base, escorting them out of town. And so we see SharkBot trying to expand, but its probes are blocking its expansion. And another Stalker is rallied out, so we're going to have at least 3 of these boys in here. Sentry is popping out, but that should pop out on the right side of the map. Yeah, BenBot's in a great spot. We did, the past few matches that I cast, BenBot was going up against some very strong Zergs. SharkBot is a very strong Protoss bot, but, I mean, BenBot seems to be doing much better in this match. So far, anyway. Of course, SharkBot's strategy was all over the place, a nightmare to cast too. Sentry chasing this Hellion out, but not attacking. Now it's going to engage. I don't actually know what wins in a fight, 1 Sentry or 1 Hellion. The Hellions, if microed, I believe wins 100% of the time. But then one of those things, programming your bot to be like, yeah, that's a single Sentry, attack that with a Hellion. Okay, there is a Prism out. Will it give these Stalkers an evac? Yes, it will. Thank goodness. Protoss needs a door, says SharkBot. Okay, so there's some self-awareness there. That's good to see. Now, these Stalkers are going to move out in the Prism, and unlimited APM in a Prism can lead to a lot of harassment, particularly when it's just like Marines and bunkers at the front. If this Prism unloads in the main, there might not be a lot for BenBot to defend this. There is a Viking on the way, which will help zone out the Prism, but this could be the comeback here for SharkBot. It's got its Nexus on the natural base done. The Stalkers are unloading by the tank, and they are getting pushed away. We see BenBot saying tag Stalker, SharkBot saying tag invisible units air. Was there actually a Banshee made? There wasn't. Invisible attacks, enemy air. Okay, so those are 2 different tags. The invisible one just regarding the Widowmine. This other Stalker does go down, so 4 micro there from SharkBot. We see a tag Mass Stalker Prism, so presumably more Stalkers and more Prisms going to be on the way. Favorite movie, says SharkBot. For me, it probably would be Interstellar. However, I mean, it kind of depends what movie I'm watching. Right? Like, I go and rewatch The Dark Knight, and then it's like, okay, that's my favorite movie, and then I'll watch something else, and like, yeah, that's my favorite movie. So, and then of course there's Lord of the Rings. So it's like you can't even pick one. It's impossible. Maybe 1 a year. That's a lot more doable. But then even some years we just have multiple fantastic movies. If you guys want to listen to a fair bit of movie talk, make sure you check out those Afrika World VODs and join the Discord so you get notified whenever Falcon Paladin and I go live. It seems while we're casting we do end up talking about at least a couple pieces of media, that sort of thing. And so, yeah, another Afrika World is supposed to be happening on August 12th, I believe. That's the upcoming Saturday. And so, yeah, keeping ear to the ground for that. We see SharkBot with a 3rd base up. BenBot still on 2 bases with a 3rd on the way. Fusion Core did finish up, so we can potentially see a battlecruiser get started up. And there it is, the big boy himself. The BCs kind of fell short in the previous cast for BenBot just due to the fact that Neural Parasite really punished them. I believe it was Eris destroying, or maybe Canonana, one of those Zergs anyway, was destroying the BCs with relative ease. Now, there is no Neural Parasite for Protoss, so destroying the BCs might be a little bit harder. There's a Stargate on the way, a Robo Bay on the way, so SharkBot will have tools to potentially deal with this, but the damage could happen far before this. The actual worker count, greatly in favor for BenBot. The army supply, greatly in favor for BenBot, and the supply, as a result, highly in favor for BenBot. That may change here, though, as there's a bit of an ambitious attack by the Terran. We'll see a Marauder or 2 potentially go down here. Yeah, so good defense for SharkBot. However, it really is going to be about this tech coming online. Eventually, we're going to need to see this battlecruiser get reacted to. 5 Stalkers, I believe, can deal with a battlecruiser, particularly if microed well. But the question is, how many probes are going to die? Does this battlecruiser just yeet itself across the map? Yes, it does. Does SharkBot react immediately? Yes, it does. Will the probes run away? No, they won't. BenBot actually elects to attack this Stargate, which is very wacky. I wonder if that's a mistake or if that's just downright intentional to try and destroy the enemy's anti-air. That's a really interesting choice. That could have been probably a good number of dead probes. Instead, it deals half the, or well, pretty much all the shields to the Stargate, but it will regenerate that. The BC goes and hides in the top right corner, potentially just going to teleport back and get healed up in about a minute or so. That does take quite a while, though, so that's a lot of downtime for a battlecruiser. You kind of want more than that, but BenBot's still enjoying a nice economy lead, 71 workers to 60. SharkBot is getting up another Stargate, is getting up a fleet beacon. We're having ourselves a late game PvT, which is really exciting, but BenBot's play is just looking pretty darn good so far. As I take a look across the map, it's littered with Widow Mines. That's a great test for an opponent AI. I mean, if a bot is programmed to deal with that sort of thing, it will deal with each subsequent one very easily. If not, though, it's just going to be a big pain for SharkBot, potentially game-ending if it can't take more expansions. We see an Immortal unloaded in front of the battlecruiser. This BC really does want this Stargate. We'll see if it hits its teleport out threshold, and it does. It did use the Yamato cannon on that too. However, SharkBot did build another Stargate, so it's not like it's without that tech. It's making a Colossus, however, that's not going to help against the BCs, but still no extra base. Have these mines killed anything? No kills yet, or actually one kill there. So potentially SharkBot did want to expand, but was denied, and Oracle's on the way now. Revelation, very powerful tool. Revelation, one of those things. Information, when it comes to bots and AI, it's like you need it less than human players do. In theory, if you program your bot to count cards in a way, count enemy units, it's like, once you, you don't really need a Revelation, because the Oracle's seen them anyway for the most part. The Revelation, of course, will reveal Widow Mines, but, as far as seeing, 4 BCs, it's pretty easy to program your bot to be like, oh yeah, there's 4 BCs, remember that. Haven't killed any, so you could, in theory, program your bot to keep total tallies on your opponent. Now, let's see here. A Tempest is on the way for SharkBot. I just heard that click, that infamous click, as those BCs teleport into the main base. Double Yamato cannon going to go down. Hits 2 Stargates. I mean, BenBot really is programmed to target the enemy Stargates, but it's going to get one. It's really reducing its damage. SharkBot immediately starts up another, though, so it's got a threshold for the amount of Stargates. Once it loses another, it's going to start up another. It's got a Tempest out, which will do very well against the battlecruisers. The Phoenix can try and chase these BCs away. So, I mean, it's a couple of Stargates taking some damage. We now see BenBot cross the map with the rest of his units. Disruptor goes out, hits some Marines. Feedback, Psystorm goes down on that Terran army. No Machine Lake splits there, as a lot of damage gets done. Another Psystorm goes down. BenBot's Marines and Marauders getting chased away. The army of SharkBot is no joke here. And if the BCs for BenBot aren't being efficient, then there is the potential that SharkBot can just win this game with an attack or something like that. And while BenBot's strategy on paper is literally the most cost-efficient thing you can do, it isn't getting results in the games we've seen. The ground units for BenBot seem to be pretty good, but just the fact that the BCs are always teleporting home, they lose so much time. They lose so much efficiency. I mean, of course, there's more BCs out and stuff, but yeah, the SharkBot has taken way less damage than it could. It's now got a 4th on the way, so it did deal with one of those Widow Mines. That's good to see. In comes BenBot pushing at the front. But, I mean, when a lot of the supplies and BCs that aren't really doing anything, I'm not too concerned here. Oracle flying around. I'm not sure what it's using its energy on. However, yeah, no worry for SharkBot just right now, and we'll see if BenBot's going to fall short in the late game again, as this Protoss is now building up to a carrier. It's kind of going for the Noah's Ark approach of units, just a couple of everything, and yeah, BenBot's getting up more bases, so its expanding behavior is great to see. It does have the resources that it could take literally every base on the map. However, the BCs are moving forward. We could potentially see some good Yamato cannons on these high-value Protoss units. Stalker's moving forward. There is a blink. There's one Yamato cannon going to hit that Phoenix, I believe. That's deleted. Another one going down. Is that on the Prism? No, it's on a Stalker. These Stalkers are getting pushed back. A lot are dying. The BC's getting some good efficiency there, but it was just good efficiency. It wasn't great efficiency. Resources lost. The Protoss has lost 2,000 more, but we're 14 minutes into the game, so that's not significant. The carriers are on the way. There's more Colossus on the way. No extended, or no, there is extended thermal lance, pardon me. Yamato cannon goes down. Psystorm hits a lot of those Marauders. Very, very effective there. Disruptor shots are going out, but here we see these Tempests can now start picking away on units. The Marauders are going to do wonderful against these Stalkers, but the Stalkers should be able to blink away. They actually blink in, and the upgrades are better for the Protoss, so that's going to help a lot. The Tempest can just shred these units, pick them off with relative ease. There's a battlecruiser moving forward, but the Tempest with their +1 attack are dealing lots of damage. And Nexus is going up for SharkBot as it's expanding. And yeah, all in all, things are looking pretty darn good here for SharkBot. BenBot had a great lead, but it's just not getting too much efficiency with the BCs. If it starts to Yamato cannon like the Tempest and then get out, that would be great, but instead we're seeing some of the battlecruisers start to go down. Not a single air unit has died. And if BenBot loses this game, I think it's sufficient to say that the BCs at least need some sort of rework. Like, it would almost be interesting to see how BenBot plays, just foregoing the BCs and spamming bio, that sort of thing, because its openings are so darn good. And yeah, we see 4 BCs on the way at a time. They're tossing out Yamato cannons, but like not a single air unit has died. The Tempest are so efficient. The Protoss is now pushing forward. BenBot's in a world of trouble here. Colossus does walk into an auto turret and tanks. That's a bit worrisome. There's lots of Widow Mines and bunkers here. Disruptor helps bring down that bunker. Psystorm's going down on the Widow Mines. Those are going to get shredded. Immortals stepping forward against the tanks. BenBot is doing pretty darn good against this. The Immortals are not targeting down the tanks, but the Protoss is still going to win the air fight 100% here. Yamato cannon kills a High Templar, but the Tempest are the main threat. And if you've ever tried to turtle as Terran on the ladder against a Protoss that has Tempest will just pick you apart. And so things are not looking too hot here for BenBot. Yamato cannons are going down, hitting some of the air units late, but Protoss air units can take a couple of shots. Each Yamato cannon does get through the shields at least on these units and deal a bit of hull damage, but then if they regen the shields, it's going to take at least a couple of Yamato cannons to kill them. There's one carrier going down as these carriers are engaging forward, but still, it's just one carrier going down. SharkBot's really on BenBot right now. The SCV count is rapidly falling as the transfer is being attempted. I believe BenBot's trying to reestablish its front that it usually does oh so well with against the Zerg, but not so well against the Protoss. A base is being attempted to be taken, flying right into this Protoss fleet. I think we are losing some efficiency on the carriers due to the fact that they're always moving. They're not really unleashing their interceptors on this base. There we go. Now they do that. SharkBot taking some heat. Great use of battery overcharge against these battle cruisers. The Stalkers are just taking like unlimited shots from these BCs, just buying oh so much time. In comes the Tempest. The carriers are there. Yamato cannon does delete one of those Tempests. However, these BCs are in potential danger. There's still this big battle going on at the front. The main base could potentially be broken eventually. The BC fleet is very significant. I mean, it's up to 11 against 4 Tempests. There's a lot of Yamato cannons going down, and the Protoss is suddenly taking a lot of damage. Makes you wonder where all the money is going for SharkBot. Like, it's got 89 probes, but it's just losing a lot of units here. And so the Protoss bot definitely needs to retreat a little bit, and BenBot, while I was really knocking the BCs earlier just for the amount that were dying, I mean only 3, but for the lack of work they were getting done, we now have seen that BenBot has actually reached somewhat of a critical mass, and SharkBot is kind of just throwing away a lot of units here. The economy is greatly superior for the Protoss bot. It's 90 probes to 40, so a 50 worker lead. The economy is so far in the lead, so I mean, even if SharkBot can keep this up and trade out, it should be in a fine spot, but both bots are lower on supply. That can let these BCs be pretty darn efficient here. Cannons going up, a lot of static defense to defend this base for SharkBot. I do love to see this. The batteries and cannons really can buy time against the BCs, force them to use their Yamato cannons against it. Another base is being attempted. This is actually the one that BenBot was trying to secure, so the fact that these bots aren't taking these other bases is somewhat interesting. We see Yamato cannons going down, Tempest working away on the BCs, but the BC does teleport out. It's going to get repaired. BenBot's actually so broke, it's having a hard time repairing all of its units. Repair is kind of expensive, but when you're doing it en masse, it's not insignificant. We could use an observer UI that does tell us how many resources have been spent on repair for this. Now, let's see. SharkBot moving on in. Gonna be potentially breaking one of these bases. BenBot cannot keep money in the bank. Is it dropping any mules? It's got to be somewhere. Is there any mules on the map? No mules on the map just yet. It's got energy that it can drop some, but yeah, it's mining oh so little here. As yeah, it's got lots of SCVs, but I believe a bunch are in the main base trying to repair. There's not too much mining going on. There's a little bit of mining going on. So it is getting some resources to repair, but SharkBot, with its better economy, does seem to be winning out. The BCs still aren't able to be repaired in full, and then we're seeing this sort of trickle thing that's not going to be working out too well. There's a great defensive line here for SharkBot. The fact that it's building cannons and batteries so far out on the front. There's a planetary, but there's nothing to repair it here, so that will potentially go down. In come the battle cruisers, dropping Yamato cannons and getting out, but we see the carriers can take multiple shots, so unless there's a follow-up one, they will just regen the shields and then require even more shots. So BenBot gonna need some great efficiency here. This base has got some SCVs to repair it, but we do see a lack of mining really keeping BenBot broke. These BCs are waiting patiently in line to be repaired, almost like the Tesla drivers waiting to charge their car. And now we see in come these Stalkers and Tempests. They're gonna start getting some kills here. 4 BCs have died, but like the Protoss really is on the front there. Auto turrets being tossed on down, and yeah, we're even seeing more pylons go up for a potential just front line trench being dug by SharkBot. SharkBot's maxed out, getting up more bases here. It even took that gold base earlier, which is not insignificant. And yeah, BenBot's economy just falls apart while it doesn't get the efficiency it needs. So BenBot, a very cool bot, great openings, but it does need some work here. I'm 90% sure it's not going to win this game. It's down to 6 BCs when it was up at like 11 before. It's just repairing non-stop. Like, its usage of the BCs, it's machine-like, but it would almost be better if it took the human approach. Repair the BCs up to full, fly forward with them all, 11, dump Yamato cannons, get some kills. Like, a human player would almost use these BCs better at this point, but regardless, it is a very cool bot. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button if you enjoyed this match. I do really enjoy seeing SharkBot. It was a good comeback, as it kept its cool. BenBot kind of neutered itself by not going for workers and attacking the Stargate. It's a very interesting theory to try and disable the enemy's anti-air, but BCs don't kill Stargates that quickly. There's cannons and batteries being built on the front line, so SharkBot got some cool tech there. But yeah, BenBot is done for, and I'll see you guys next time. The BCs will all die one by one. In comes SharkBot, and all the BCs are pop, 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 dead.